Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Unity of Command 2, a new turn-based strategy game about World War II on the Western Front that allows you to play through the Western Allied campaign from 1943 to 1945. It is in 1945, the war is nearly over. You can see here the war started in the Mediterranean, we drove through North Africa, we drove up the boot of Italy, we landed in northern France, drove out of Normandy, raced eastward, fought the battles of Market Garden, the Battle of the Bulge, and we just fought the Battle of the Colmar Pocket, aiming to get up against the Rhine on the southern flank of the German front. We also landed in southern France and drove east, linking up with troops from Normandy. And we now have at least two battles or two scenarios left in this campaign or in this game, the Battle of Veritable and Grenade, and the Battle of Lumberjack and Undertone. Veritable and Grenade is the northern thrust toward the Rhine. So after Market Garden, the Allied forces under Eisenhower focused on a broad front strategy, and Veritable and Grenade is the British and Canadian advance along the northern front. Lumberjack and Undertone is the American drive to get over the Rhine, and that takes place in March of 45. I don't know if there's another conference and more scenarios after this. It may or may not occur. It's March of 45, so there's still a little bit of time left in the war for the drive into the heart of Germany, maybe something about the drive into the Ruhr or other things like that, the British drive north toward Kiel. Those kind of things can certainly happen, but I don't know if the game will actually include them or not, so I guess we'll find out. With that being said, today we're going to be playing the Battle of Veritable and Grenade, and we are going to be, we're going to be playing that. So, Veritable and Grenade. As the winter of 1945 comes to an end, the 21st Army Group is ready to resume its advance on the Rhine. In the north, the Canadian 1st Army will start with the offensive with Operation Veritable, Operation Grenade. The southern pincer, composing U.S. 9th Army, has been postponed until the flooding on the Ruhr subside. Okay? So let's go ahead and jump in here. I have not played either of these scenarios yet, so I'm not quite sure what to expect. All right, so this is another small map. I was thinking this might be a big map, but this is another very constrained map. It looks to be the drive on Dusseldorf. Schaeff Dispatch. It is time to close up the Rhine. Canadian 1st Army is ready to commence with its assault. U.S. 9th Army will not be able to join in for another 2 weeks as the Germans have flooded the Ruhr River. The following units have been reconstituted by Schaeff after being destroyed in battle: the 29th U.S. Infantry Division and the 79th U.S. Infantry Division. It does look like in this scenario that we get substantial reinforcements as the battle goes on. So turn 2, we get a division. Turn 3, we get a British Armored Division. Turn 4, we get a huge number of units. And turn 5, we get additional units. It's an 11-turn scenario, so this is a pretty big scenario in terms of length. You can see here, I'm guessing we're going to lack the punch initially to drive across much of the map until those reinforcements come on the map. I'm not 100% sure, but you can see here we're driving on Dusseldorf, which is where the German supply depot comes through and the German rail lines. Our supplies, finally our supplies are in good shape at 100% up here. We've been toiling away most of the time with supplies around 60 to 80%. I think they may have actually gotten better at the Battle of the Bulge, but it always felt like we were highly disrupted. You can see the troops in the front lines, for the most part, are going to not be disrupted in terms of supply. This is the pre-battle setup phase. Some of these units, like maybe we shouldn't do that. I think it's better actually to keep just 5 steps. It's still a pretty good strength unit with 5 steps. Because then they get their veteran status. So you can see, like, up here, they're 250 experience. It gives them a veteran star. If we add another unit, it drops to 230. They keep the veteran status, though. Meanwhile, these guys are 311. They're elite. They have 5 steps. If we give them one more, they drop to veteran. So I'd actually think I'd prefer to keep this unit here, the 3rd British Infantry Division, as elite. The 15th British Infantry Division, honestly, as long as a unit has 5 steps or more, I'm pretty content to leave them as is. Meanwhile, these guys only have 3, and they're only regular infantry, so I'll take the experience hit to get them up to 4. These guys are 100, which is basically the base replacement level. They don't have any steps available to them, however. And we've got a pretty experienced group of troops, all in all. Meanwhile, we've got 1 U.S. unit, part of the 9th, down here in the south. I really need more troops in the south. I'm a little bit worried that they might drive toward Aachen. Although I'm going to guess the Germans will be pretty passive in this scenario, given none of the objectives are currently under our control. Usually it seems like scenarios where the Germans launch major counteroffensives, it's because there are objectives already in the Allied control. Meanwhile, I think the one thing we do want to consider doing is providing some additional artillery for our units. So I'm going to, where I can anyway, you can have up to 3 of these sort of supporting units. And I've got over 490 prestige available to me. So where we can, I think I'm going to go ahead and spend money on artillery. So I want to make sure that we're able to pound the enemy into submission. And 25-pound artillery pieces, Cromwell tanks, Fireflies, all these kind of things help. Engineers, I'm curious if they help, like, cross-river attacks. I'm not sure. So we'll give those guys commandos and engineers. So that's going to make these the 2nd Canadian a little bit better. Meanwhile, these guys, we're going to give artillery, and then we'll also give them... I guess we'll give them Fireflies, or Cromwells are actually better on the attack, so we'll give that to them. Meanwhile, these guys down here, I'm spending prestige a little bit liberally, a little bit like a drunken sailor, but what's a Hobart's Funny? What is that? Whatever it is pretty damn good. It's expensive. I'll stick with the artillery for those guys. All these guys are maxed out. These guys are not. Infantry step. Do we want to... Since they're all alone, I want to go max strength for them. We'll also give them an M10 on the defensive. And that's going to be that. So we've spent all we really can spend. I guess the one thing we could spend a little bit more on is the Canadian armor up here. They are elite, so I don't want to give them another step because that'll drop them out of elite status. But I think we can give them some artillery. We'll do that. Artillery's cheap, so that's nice. All right, so that's going to do it for the pre-battle setup, I think. Yeah. So that'll do it for the pre-battle setup. With that being said, we've got a relatively thin line. We've got a river between us and the Germans. We don't have a lot of armor at our disposal yet. The objective is Noch, or Goch, or however you pronounce that. Reichswald. The Wiesel Bridge is our secondary objective. Bonus objective. Uerdingen over here is another secondary objective, and then Mönchengladbach, however you pronounce that, is another objective over here. So 2 of the 3 objectives are in the north. We probably could focus on the north and then swing south. There is a major roadway here that does move east and then south, so that would sort of align with the idea of attacking on the northern flank and then driving south along the German position rather than crossing here in the south. Additionally, since we don't have a bunch of those American troops down here in the south quite yet, I'm assuming since this is the 9th U.S. Army, they're going to come on the scene here in the south as well. So for the moment, I think it makes more sense to avoid the northern offensive. Although this armor can do a good deal of damage here. So actually, let's start in the south. Well, let's wait to spend those points. So there's German fortifications up here in the north. I'd prefer to roll up the German line. I'm just trying to see what makes the most sense. I think we launch a set-piece attack against this German fortification. You can see there we were able to breach it. I think then at that point we go ahead and we do a feint. That'll drop the enemy supply. Or the enemy... Not supply, but... pull these guys back. Move the armor forward. Maybe have an artillery bombardment here. And maybe another set-piece attack. Nice. Okay, so we broke... So we broke their fortifications. We didn't break through the line yet. But we did break through the fortifications. And so next turn, my hope, is that we can really overrun these guys and advance on Noch, the objective over there. Meanwhile, in the south, I don't think I've used all my points up yet. I haven't, so I'm going to go ahead and see if we can get a breach here. We're going to go ahead and use some artillery against these dug-in troops here that are across this rail bridge here. Then we're going to use our armor here to attack these guys. It says 0 to 2, so we didn't actually lose any men, and we got across the river. So we crossed the river in the south. Don't tell me that river is flooded. We also have a bridge there, so those troops are going to get supply. All the troops involved here should have supply. I didn't even use my air units. I probably should have. Let's go ahead and hit these half-tracks. All right, we got 1 KIA on an enemy mechanized formation. That's pretty good. Yeah. Meanwhile, recon, I mean, we can kind of scout out the rear. It looks like there is some German armor back here near Dusseldorf, 2 formations of it. I don't see any other German units here. So they've got 4 units of armor and 1 of half tracks. So that's something to be aware of. Do we want to do anything else, like with these other troops down here? Do we want to try and set piece attack across the river? City in ruins. I mean, we kind of expend... Alright, so we breach these guys down to entrenched. One of the things I'm not 100%... But we didn't take any permanent casualties. One of the things I'm not 100% sure of is if the Germans are going to re-entrench these guys into forts or not, or whether they'll accept the downgrade. In the individual scenarios, it seems like they will re-entrench, but in the other scenarios, like in the actual campaign, I haven't seen them do that. So I'm not sure what to expect there. But let's go ahead and end the turn. We'll see what the Germans do. They're reinforcing the guys that we drove back. Okay. So some of our troops have their supply disrupted. So let's bombard these German troops. That didn't do anything. Usually bombardments are pretty effective. Alright, so we'll go ahead and hit these guys with air. That was useless. The armor can hit them 0 to 2, cornered. Okay. So these guys can't move. God damn it, I'm too packed in here. I can't... I guess I can shift north. That doesn't even do anything. What's the point of that? Ah, crap. I mean, I could finish him off if I had it. There needs to be a swap button. I should be able to switch. I wish there was a goddamn swap button. Alright. Problem is, none of these troops are then going to be able... Like, we're going to pull the armor back, but no one else who can attack can get far enough forward, so what's the point? Alright. Hopefully the Germans don't advance across the river there. In any event, continuing on. Alright, let's bombard these guys. Nice, okay. Bombard them, get their support down. That armor can go over 3 and overrun those guys? Wow. So the U.S. Army is across the river in the south. And devastating these German troops. I'm not going to advance quite there quite yet, because that will expose my rear unless we do have some U.S. reinforcements coming up here. So we could advance. And then we move our infantry in here. Okay. So the U.S. The first reinforcements come on the scene, and they support the drive. We're having more success in the south, driving on Mochlin. I can't even pronounce that name of this city. But yeah. All right. So we'll pause there for the drive coming into the south. That may divert the German attention here. I don't know how good their armor is. It says they're experienced. Alright, let's advance another turn. It is an 11-turn mission, too, so, I mean, we do have a fair amount of time, and there's not a lot of ground to cover. And my assumption is once we sort of uproot some of these German entrenchments, then we'll be okay. Let's see. Alright, so these Germans are dug in again. But these troops are not. Actually, I shouldn't do that. Let's have these guys... All right, those troops are ota 2. So we'll attack with this armor. We breached them and drove them back. So we'll advance along the rail line here. I'm assuming these new reinforcements are going to come on. They're not going to come on the south, are they? Alright, so we'll move the British armor up here. They only have 2 steps, though. They're kind of weak, surprisingly. I guess they've taken a lot of casualties over the course of the war under my command. Hey, Mad55 Max, how you doing? Afternoon stream, not super characteristic of me, right? Alright, so... Alright, so we cornered and breached them. Go ahead and attack there. Twice. We did lose some casualties. I could have advanced these troops here to finish off that infantry, but I really don't want to deal with armor counterattacking weakened infantry, so that's why I didn't do it. Meanwhile, the infantry here is overrun. The armor will swing here. They'll breach those troops. We'll have our other troops move forward. Just a question of who. Okay, so we're slowly grinding them down. I'm not even using much of my Air Force at this point. Additional reinforcements will be ready in the next couple of turns. Reichswald is supposed to fall by turn 4. I'm not gonna get the gold star for this mission because I haven't even made a move there yet. But we might get to the other city down here before turn 6. All right, so this German armor I'm gonna go ahead and hit with air, and we got a KIA, so that'll weaken them slightly. So that's good. Meanwhile, supply situation, these guys are out of supplies, so let's go ahead and build a dump here. A little bit further forward. That'll give them supply. We get 2 more trucks next turn also. So a little bit further forward supply, and we'll move forward to turn number 4. You're recovering? Recovering from what? I'm doing great, by the way, Matt. Alright, so... a couple of German maneuvers, a few units getting strengthened. Pulling that half-track back. That's interesting. I wonder if they'll blow the Wiesel Bridge. Historically, that's the bridge the Americans got over the Rhine on, right? Alright, so... apparently we have no artillery there. Do a fixed attack here. That'll breach. It's so much easier to breach the German line in this scenario than in the Hürtgen Force scenario. Damn. Alright, so I can't quite attack directly there. But I can attack this German armor. Drive up here. We'll take the casualty there to get rid of that German unit. Swing up here. Meanwhile, we should have additional reserves coming forward. So move these guys over here. The armor will continue to protect the flank there. Large numbers of British reserves are coming on the scene. Probably more troops than we can even use. A bunch of U.S. units are deploying. U.S. 9th Army is on the scene. Alright, so first things first, we'll get the troops that I think are the most immediately useful to the front. Some of these other troops are a little bit lighter in terms of manpower. Doesn't look like I have any reserves to deploy with them, though. Move these guys forward. Alright, this British armored unit could be useful too. So we'll pull them forward. Supply doesn't look like an issue on the front there. So turn 6. I'd like to try and take the objective by that date. Damn it, we couldn't breach him there. Alright. Wow, 3 KIA. That was effective. Our armored spearhead will continue moving forward. And that might actually cut the supply. Well, not quite. Doesn't quite cut the supply to that city. Alright. So I've got more men than I can really use at the moment, but we're going to go ahead and move forward again. Oh, lower back surgery? Eee. Well, wish you a speedy recovery, man. Hope you're feeling better soon. Alright, so more units available, 4 units disrupted supply. Meanwhile, these guys are not dug in at all. I'd like to pound them with artillery. No retreat. I wonder what happens if you do a set-piece attack. I can't do a feint against these guys. So I think what we have to do... Let's see if we can kill these guys. No, not quite. Alright, so we drove them back. Advance up there, take the supply. So we drove that German armor back. Alright, I want to move these guys up. I prefer to avoid turning everything into rubble. I guess I'll take 1-to-1 losses if I have to. I can't launch a feint there. I don't understand. Nobody can get suppressed. Alright, let's actually drive these guys. Let's move these guys up. Can we... No, we can't attack with any of them quite yet. And my air won't do anything versus them, so we'll have to wait. I guess we have more troops coming on. It's kind of like, well, we got a bunch more troops, but I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Can't even get the troops I want to the front. So we're just going to leave them back there for the moment. Okay. Alright, so they just destroyed that bridge. Whatever the town name is. Okay, when do we... All these objectives we just have to take by the last day. I'm curious if I set-piece attack a troop... Okay. So there's not much value in set-piece attacking troops that are already... have their fortifications reduced. I wasn't sure about that. Alright, those guys attacked. So we'll attack here with this armor. Those guys will pull back. Let's go ahead and hit this German armor up here. Our air force is worthless. Okay. Alright, we're going to move this armor up here to deal with this German force. Let's supply these guys. I don't want to turn everything into ruins. All right. Let's clear the... Yep, there's no reason to take those casualties because we're just gonna... They're just gonna starve. So there's really no reason to take those casualties. Pull these guys back. Alright. The real challenge, I feel like, is going to be up north. We've already taken one of the objectives here, a little bit ahead of schedule. The other objective in the south probably should fall ahead of schedule. The question is how we're going to take Reiswald. That's where the real... I probably should have focused on that initially. It's Veritable and Grenade, MAD 555. That's the scenario we're playing right now. So it's the drive to get across the Rhine, really. Yeah, the Germans didn't move anything that turn. Alright, let's do this. There's two there. Alright, we'll do the one attack here. Destroy that German unit. We took the Wiesel Bridge. Alright, those guys are dug in. So we'll breach them there. Oh, why did I do that? Taking unnecessary casualties. This is the objective right here. There's two objectives, though. You know, we need to swing north. Let's keep our command points in play for the moment. Let's go ahead and try and... We didn't even breach. God damn, our air is so worthless. I need to take Reiswald. How am I going to do that? Nice, 2K there. I'll take that. Again, the swap button needs to exist. But I can't take the offensive there. I can't even use all the troops I have. Not even close. Playing the Soviets too much lately? Maybe. Unnecessary casualties? Perhaps. Alright, so these Germans are cut off. I've got two between me. I don't even know if I have enough time to take Reiswald. Okay. Thank you. Alright, right? So the armor did breach and drove those guys back. Oh, wait, that was... Reichswald was on this side of the river, so I misread the hex there. Okay. Good result. We're fine. Crisis averted. So we should be good now. Now it's just a matter of wearing these guys down, I think. Maybe we should just do feints, because it doesn't seem like the artillery does much. Alright, so we took that other secondary objective. I'll spend the command points to get the prestige. Move these guys over here. We just have the one objective left, and we have till turn 11 to do it. I think what we need... Let's move these guys back. Let's move these guys forward. I think we just need to feint these guys to death. So I think I'm going to set up to do that starting next turn. Cram. I don't want to cram too many troops in because I need to be able to shuffle troops around, actually. But that's the goal here, is to take the last objective and just to feint. Because there's only 4 enemy troops. It is rubble, but they're not dug in. Hey, Luke Stylus. Heroes of the Red Army. Alright, the Germans seem to be falling back to the east. Coco19972 CAS, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Alright. So first things first, let's go ahead and use our air, even though we know it won't do anything. Oh, wow, it did something! I feel like the guy who was poking the stick at something to, you know, come on, aircraft, do something. And then they finally did something, and I was stunned. Alright, so attack there, Oda 2, attack there, they're dead. Armor swinging for the victory. And there you go. That's a victory. Is there any reason to do anything else? I mean, maybe I get points for killing the enemy. So I'll do that. I didn't lose any actual casualties killing the enemy there, just the support. I mean, you do get points for killing the enemy. You obviously lose points for losing troops, too. Ah! I don't want to lose that many. I assumed it would just be suppression. But we actually lost some casualties there. Okay. So we took that spot on the map. So the enemy now is firmly driven back to Dusseldorf on the opposite side of the Rhine. And that's going to be a victory. So the Veritable and Grenade is going to be a success. I didn't even have to use any of my cards. Admittedly, I don't really have much left in the way of cards. And there you go. So let's go ahead and end the turn. And we should claim victory. The enemy gets a chance to counterattack, but they're not going to. They've been driven from that side of the Rhine. Objectives complete. You are victorious. End scenario. Scenario complete. Score 163. 11 enemy KIA. 10 prisoners of war. 1 British unit destroyed. 1 Canadian. 1 American. 4 armor steps. 3 infantry steps. All very minimal portions of our force. And there you go. All right, everybody. This seems like as good as a spot as any to jump in and go ahead and cut this episode off. I hope you guys are enjoying this series, Unity of Command, a new World War II turn-based strategy game. We'll pick things up next time. Let me know your thoughts below, as always. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.